Hey, Robert here from Mesh Masters, and this is a quick video to talk you through some of the features for those that want to play around with the pack and customize it a little bit to your own liking. The first point I want to touch on is the use of custom primitive data. And what this pretty much means is when you have your static meshes in the scene, so only within the scene, you can give them a unique number, and that number is then read by the shader and material to give it a certain effect. So you don't do this within your content browser and within the static mesh editor. You do this within the scene. So here, for example, this wall is currently blue. And if I go to the details panel and search for custom, you will find the custom primitive data defaults. And as you can see, I already added a couple of values here. And the top one is currently set to 1. If I set it to 0, or if I remove all of them, the asset turns black. If I add back in the first one, and it per defaults to value 1, it turns blue. We created this so we can go all the way up to an integer of 8 for a preset color, pretty much. Everything above 8, so 9 or 10, doesn't work. It limits at 8. And if you add more values, those will do nothing. So it's only about the top value. And the idea behind this is that if we go to the right, all these assets, even though these three have different colors, in the background, they're still the same asset. So that is good for optimization. It is easier for production, and it is also an easy way for us to give you, the users and the players, a preset system, pretty much in this case. So the back one, yellow, is obviously 3, and this one is, the middle one is 2. And through that, we have a single set of assets that are easily copied over into different colors. So make sure you are aware and use this system and setup. In case you want to play around with this and tweak it, if you go to the holographic pack in the content browser, shared assets, and then shaders, at the bottom there is a material function here, the team colors shader function. Open it up, and this is where the colors are set and saved. And at the top here, we have the node that listens to the custom primitive data. As you can see, there is a switch. So if you go to the child material instance, this toggle switch or Boolean switch is there to turn it on or off. And depending on that, you will have a different effect, obviously. And this is then pulled into all of its other materials. And I will touch on that later. So be aware that you can adjust it here and play around with it. So that is the custom primitive data and the team color shader function. The main shader or material, sorry, that is used on almost all the modular pieces, as well as almost all the props, which also obviously has the team coloring functionality, is the holographic shader, main shader, this one. So if you want to adjust 90% of all the assets, do that in here. And as you can see at the top, the team color is also listened to and pulled from that shader or material function. So again, be aware the main holo shader is the one you want if you want to make major additions and changes. We also have set up a material parameter collection that is listened to by this main holo shader and some of the others as well. And in here, if you know what it is, these values are listened in a globally by all the material instances using that material that is listening to this collection. So let's say I want to boost up the color, I can do that here, and as you can see, everything changes at the same time. So that is again an easy way for everybody to make adjustments. So feel free to play around with this file as well. The last element I want to touch on is that obviously all the assets can be found in the content browser as a static mesh. So let's go to props, furniture, meshes. So for example, I can pull in this static mesh, which is currently black because it has no custom primitive data yet. So change that to 1 and it's blue and red. But wherever we could, we also created blueprints with preset colors of 5 colors. So let's go for orange. I'll delete this one, add it back in. As you can see, it already has a color, and so a team color identifier is pushed through, and that is all done through the blueprint code, which is very, very basic. If you select the root object, it has some holographic asset values, and as you can see, the top is the team index, and this value is simply pushed forward towards the meshes or static meshes within the team index group. So that it's a very basic setup. The only thing it does is push that value through. And we also have toggle switches to turn, in this case, the outline on or off. And if we go to a street light, for example, the enable lights turns on the light rays on or off. And these two are simply a toggle switch that turns the visibility on or off. So in case of the lights, it looks at the light group null object, and all the children are turned on or off depending on that switch. The same for the neon outline group, all the children are turned on or off. For the walls, some of them also have that functionality, but then does it have a door or not? Is the door locked or not? Does it have a window or not? So an easy way for people to quickly build out a level or play around. Depending on your needs and your project, it might still be wiser to use the static mesh and make your own adjustments, of course. But yeah, this functionality is there if you need it. Besides that, not all assets follow the same shaders and blueprint setup or material parameter collection. Some, like the background buildings, are a unique set, or the sky assets are unique. Or the holographic banners are unique, and the foliage also has their own setup, just as the basic shapes also have their own setup. So be aware of that. And that is the most important points to talk about and share. If there are any issues, you need help, or you have ideas or improvements, the best place to reach us at is support@meshmasters.com. And that's really it. So thank you very much. If you have anything to share, or you want to show us your use of the pack, please do so. That would be amazing. And I'm looking forward to seeing your results.